food handouts were used to define and reinforce power structures. Throughout the ancient world, long before the invention of money, food was wealth, and control of food was power. Once civilizations had emerged in various parts of the world, food helped to connect them together. Food trade routes acted as international communications networks that fostered not just commercial exchange, but cultural and religious exchange too. The spice routes that spanned the Old World led to cross-cultural fertilization in fields as diverse as architecture, science, and religion. Early geographers started to take an interest in the customs and peoples of distant lands and compiled the first attempts at world maps. By far the greatest transformation caused by food trade was a result of the European desire to circumvent the Arab spice monopoly. This led to the discovery of the New World, the opening of maritime trade routes between Europe, America, and Asia, and the establishment by European nations of their first colonial outposts. Along the way, it also revealed the true layout of the world. As European nations vied to build global empires, food helped to bring about the next big shift in human history, a surge in economic development through industrialization. Sugar and potatoes, as much as the steam engine, underpinned the Industrial Revolution. The production of sugar on plantations in the West Indies was arguably the earliest prototype of an industrial process, reliant though it was on slave labor. Potatoes, meanwhile, overcame initial suspicion among Europeans to become a staple food that produced more calories than cereal crops could from a given area of land. Together, sugar and potatoes provided cheap sustenance for the workers in the new factories of the industrial age. In Britain, where this process first began, the vexed question of whether the country's future lay in agriculture or in industry was unexpectedly and decisively resolved by the Irish potato famine of 1845. The use of food as a weapon of war is timeless, but the large-scale military conflicts of the 18th and 19th centuries elevated it to a new level. Food played an important role in determining the outcome of the two wars that defined the United States of America, the Revolutionary War of the 1770s and 80s, and the Civil War of the 1860s. In Europe, meanwhile, Napoleon's rise and fall was intimately connected with his ability to feed his vast armies. The mechanization of warfare in the 20th century meant that for the first time in history, feeding machines with fuel and ammunition became a more important consideration than feeding soldiers. But food then took on a new role as an ideological weapon during the Cold War between capitalism and communism, and ultimately helped to determine the outcome of the conflict. And in modern times, food has become a battlefield for other issues, including trade, development, and globalization. During the 20th century, the application of scientific and industrial methods to agriculture led to a dramatic expansion in the food supply and a corresponding surge in the world population. The so-called Green Revolution caused environmental and social problems, but without it, there would probably have been widespread famine in much of the developing world during the 1970s. And by enabling the food supply to grow more rapidly than the population, the Green Revolution paved the way for the astonishingly rapid industrialization of Asia as the century drew to a close. Since people in industrial societies tend to have fewer children than those in agricultural societies, the peak in the human population toward the end of the 21st century is now in sight. The stories of many individual foodstuffs, of food-related customs and traditions, and of the development of particular national cuisines have already been told. Less attention has been paid to the question of food's world historical impact.